Let's be honest, you didn't start your business to buy yourself a job. So if you're looking on how to scale your business and eventually get it ready so that you can sell and exit with all the profits in your pockets, you have got to tune in. I will be interviewing industry experts who have scaled their businesses, sold successfully. So make sure you subscribe because you don't want to miss this show.
Get out of here. No, seriously, when is it time to get out of your business? I have the pleasure of talking to Karen Stewart, and if you've missed the first episodes, you got to go check them out. We talked about, this is building mastery and exiting mastery. She's done 5 businesses. The second one we talked about is your baby ugly. Do you have ugliness underneath your business that you really need to address, and that entrepreneur journey of what that looks like? So go check out those episodes. But right now we got Karen in here. We're going to talk about the exits because you've done 5. Okay, so were they all different? How did they
all of them? Yeah.
Okay.
I guess they were all different. The commonality is they were exits, but yeah, they were all different. Yeah.
Okay, so the very first exit you ever did, let's go with that one.
I think I'll pick the one that's maybe not the first, but
Okay.
probably the most significant.
Okay.
That was an exit so what I will say is you have to decide long in advance that you're going to exit. So with the company that I just exited literally last month, I've been working on it since 2017. And it has been a roller coaster, like bringing in people who I thought would work for succession and then finding out that it was a disaster and then bringing somebody else in and then same thing. So, step one is you have to decide long in advance that you're going to exit. And then, the actual structure of the exit, are you going to exit 100%? Are you going to keep some shares? Are you going to, what's the valuation?
Right.
Is there going to be sort of any kind of golden handcuff on you to keep you around? Are you going to have like a contract with the company for the transition? There's so many different components.
Nuances.
For me, my biggest, because I've been through trying to do this for this company for some time now.
Yeah.
I really, one of my biggest sort of, I guess, buzzwords is flow.
Okay. Why?
Transactions where you're in the flow tend to go really well. Transactions where you're running, you're beating your head against a wall. You can't agree on values. You can't agree on terms. You can't agree on titles. You can't agree on this new structure of the board. Those I run from. So the one that I just did was in the flow from day one and literally took 3 months to pull together. And yet I've been trying to find the right people, right terms since 2017.
Right.
And went through a lot of conversations with a lot of different people and companies where it was just hitting the wall, and hitting the wall. And to the point where I kept saying, oh, what's wrong with me, Karen? Like, why can't I figure this out? And then when it's meant to be, it just flows. And all my exits that have meant to be have happened very, very fast.
You were set up first to exit, meaning like you weren't handcuffed to the business. It wasn't just you. You had the valuation there.
Yeah, no one's going to buy a business if you're needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're going to stay, like, if they're going to come and invest and take a minority shareholder position and put some equity in your company and you're still going to run it, then fine, because they're in for the upside on their investment. If they're going to come in a majority shareholder position and want to come in and actually bring their systems in and run the business and put a new leader in, you have had to your job was to make yourself absolutely replaceable.
Totally. So if you haven't done that in your business, you have to go make yourself completely useless in your business, wearing one hat, because they're going to come back and be like, okay, to replace you, it's going to cost this much. And they're going to take that off the offer, right? And they're going to say, okay, this is what we're going to pay you because we know that this is what it costs to run it. They'll do all those calculations in the valuation.
And the other problem are the challenges. If it's a small business, and we're talking sort of less than, let's say, 30 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're in the 25 less, 30 million less business, which all my business
not even.
revenue.
Yeah. Okay.
Revenue. If you're in kind of that area, most of those entrepreneurs don't pay themselves market value.
Yes. They don't.
So when you have an evaluator come in and they go, oh, well, yeah, you've been paying yourself X, but to replace you is going to be 2 times that.
Right?
They take that off that goes into their calculation.
Yes.
So that's why, having positioned yourself that you're not needed is crucial to getting a good exit price.
100%. So you've got the profits. We call them critical points of failure. You're not a critical point of failure in your business. You should have nobody in your business who's a critical point of failure, because that's going to add risk to the purchase agreement, right? If they're like, well, Jim's got all the knowledge and nothing's keeping him here, and he's your brother and he probably won't stick around. Right?
Unless they've structured a deal that incentivizes them to stay. And and lots of people do that. Like if they're buying like one of my other companies that I'm working on is an oil and gas R&D company. So a transaction would include a pretty tight handcuff on my CTO.
Yes.
So they would have to incentivize him to stay. And they would do that through stock options, equity from day one, increase, and there's lots of ways to do that, but you're right.
I can't tell you how many times I have seen that happen where they're like, okay, we incentivize the key people to stay. And there's a term on that. There's like 3 years.
Totally.
And you watch it happen, and everybody gets their final payout, and they're gone if they didn't do the integrations right.
Totally. Did you know that over 80% of acquisitions fail? So that is a fact. I got that, from the director's institution that I belong to. The failure rate in acquisitions or mergers, A or B, right?
Yep.
Is over 80%. And to your point, it's not a financial failure because the numbers made sense when they did the calculation.
People process integration failure.
Totally. Yes, 100%. Yeah, you can change the world if you can figure that out.
That's what we do.
I know.
There you go. We're going to work together. It's going to be great.
Exactly.
So that part of it where you're handcuffing people, were you ever handcuffed when you did an exit, or were you always made sure you were out?
Yeah, no. One of the companies that I sold, I was handcuffed for 3 years, but it was a really good deal.
And this is where you call it, like, you got shackles or like golden handcuffs.
I like the word golden.
Right.
So I think shackles is, when you're selling a business, you need to ask yourself, would I buy this?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, when they're selling, it's because, and in my last business, I will be honest, not in the rest of my business. In this last business, I was a bit tired. I needed a change.
Yeah.
I didn't want to lead that company. I didn't want to take it. So I didn't get the best price.
But it was worth it at that point.
It was worth it for me.
Yeah.
So I did ask myself the question, would I buy this company? Yes, I would buy this company. So you've got to, but what would be the price is obviously the question. But I think if you want to sell your business, you need to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, would I buy this company? Would I buy this company for this price? And if you could honestly say you would, then you're being authentic with what you're putting together. If you can't answer that, then you're just full of BS.
Right?
Yeah.
100%. And so the golden handcuffs versus shackles, like shackles, there's might be clawbacks, and they're like, no, you have to get it to this point or you're not going to get paid, blah, blah, blah. Right? So that's kind of like that. You're kind of shackled. The golden handcuffs is where it's like, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. We want you to just really be this relationship piece part, right? To keep it all flowing. And you still own some shares, especially if there's like another buyout coming, right? And I've heard that, like the multiple buyout succession roll-up piece, that's where it can be super lucrative.
Totally. So a lot of the businesses in the franchise world, when they do a transaction, will structure a deal like that where it's, I'll give you X now. Yeah. You stay in, and then if we accomplish these goals together, you'll get another exit. And then if we accomplish these, then we buy the rest of your shares at X price, and you're out 100%. That's very common in bigger companies. You'll see that in the 50 million, 30 million plus companies. In the smaller companies, 30 million and less, it's usually if somebody's maybe part of the brand or the relationship person, and if you go, we're going to lose clients.
Yes, if you're the brand. Yeah. If you're the brand, that's really hard to sell.
It totally is. But a lot of entrepreneurs are the ones with the relationships. True. So that is kind of the brand. It's just not as overt. Yeah. Still equally as important. And the buyer is going to want to make sure that the relationship stays. So usually there's some nice, and they can be golden. They don't have to be shackles. They can be golden.
They can be golden.
It's all about
They can be shiny.
negotiation. It's all about good negotiations,
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Win-win. It's got to find the win-win.
So and I want to touch on the other thing you said, which is like when it was right, it just flowed. And so we work with a group down in the States that are big into M&As, and that's their number one filter. They won't do deals with assholes.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, that's the first thing. They're like, that's the first thing. If it doesn't fit right, if the people aren't right, they're out. Then it's like, if the numbers aren't right, they're out.
Yeah.
But if those two things line up.
Yeah. But then the numbers could be right. The people could be right. You still could not be in flow. So it was actually on the top of my website. It's from Stuck to Scaling.
Yeah.
And I got that from Nemo when they were going through that funnel of the water, and he's like, just get into the flow. Just get into the flow, and it will go so easy. It'll go so easy. It's like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
Right? Every time in my entire career where I've made bad decisions, I haven't been in the flow. Yeah. So you want all your ducks in a row. You want to be able to check the boxes academically. You want to be able to make sure the money's right, the market, the branding's right, the people are right. But then there's that other level of flow. It has to feel like you're just in the flow. And I don't even know if you can necessarily, I don't think there's a word in the English language that helps us really articulate what that feels like.
Yes. But I know when
we all know when that happens.
That felt really easy.
That felt really what? How did that happen so easy? Yeah, that's the flow. And if we could duplicate that in all areas of our life, can you imagine?
Right.
That's the goal. That is the goal. To be in the flow on everything we do.
Oh,
all the time.
That's the dream.
Like we're flowing. Look at us.
I
we're
know.
Flowing.
It's good flow. And so you actually going to help entrepreneurs find their flow, right? Get their businesses scaled up. How do they get a hold of you?
You can find me at KarenStewart.com. I believe my phone number's on there. You can text me. You can send me an email. You can fill out a form.
And next time we're going to talk actually about what that program looks like, because I want to unpack that a little bit and see what the offer is. So stay tuned.
Before you go back to the grind and back to the whirlwind of your business, make sure you subscribe and like so that you can catch the next episode where we're going to interview leaders so you can learn how to scale your business.